Hello and welcome to today's video. So this time we're going to be going through some vintage Puffin storybooks. So sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Okay then, so as I film this, it's a few days before the Zardoz book fair in early October, and I was hoping to take along my spare Puffin storybooks to this particular book fair. And what I've done, I've managed to sort out from the barn find all the Puffin storybooks that I had to be cleaned up, and I've put them in order. So that's a facsimile of number 1. I've actually put them into Puffin book order, Puffin series order. So this is number 5. Pretty ropey copy of this one. And I've already been through it, and I've taken out the absolute dogs, of which there were a few. So this one is very, very much borderline. I mean, I don't really like to keep the low-grade books, even if they're rare ones. This one's got some very ancient tape on. In fact, that bit's just come completely off. There we are. But there is also a bit on the front cover here. We're a bit stuck there because it's holding on to a bit of the spine. I mean, I'm not sure I'm even going to keep this at all, but you know, it is a reasonably early one, so someone might want it. I can re-glue that little bit there, and also just along the edge here. So let's see what our glue is looking like. Obviously, first time being used today. Yeah, we're okay. So I'm going to put a smidgen right along the edge here. And also a bit on there. And we'll see if that is enough just to keep it in one piece. It might be. Because apart from the cover virtually hanging off, it wasn't too bad. Right, Puffin quiz puzzle book rather, number 9. Now I was pleased to see when I went through this. So before I started cleaning these, I had a little look at my Puffin storybook wants list, and it stood at about 20 books to have the first 400 complete without any gaps. It is a difficult series to complete. I suspect it's not as hard as the main series, obviously, with all those rare wartime crime, but I think it is a difficult one to collect because, as I've said in the past, the books are aimed at youngsters. They're not aimed at adults. So generally speaking, children have been reading these books. They've not always kept, that's in pen rather, they've not always kept the books in the greatest of conditions, and consequently sometimes the books get a little bit damaged. You know, it's just inevitable. They were aimed at children, and children aren't exactly known for looking after their stuff, at least not the very young. Obviously, as kids get older, they tend to look after their stuff a bit better. And you'd think that when these books were being published, we lived in a less disposable era, you would hope, wouldn't you? It's a very, very nice one indeed, that. It's a gorgeous book, that, isn't it? It really is. The other reason, of course, I wanted to get these done was because I have 2 people who've sent me quite detailed wants lists for books from the Puffin Story Book archive. So as well as my own ones, and I want to go through these because there may be some books that are upgraders to my own collection. there may be ones that I've got a couple of collectors who are after them, in which case I'd like to sort them out a few goodies if I've got them here, you know. It's always nice to fill one's list. I mean, it really is. I had to get some glue on the foredge there, but that's okay. So I've got all the Puffin Story Books from 1 to 400, with the exception of the B format ones. Now this one has got that bit of an awful sticker on, and a tear at the bottom. So this is, once again, it's one that's a little bit borderline. It's got a name inside, but I mean, I don't think it's particularly scarce. But even though these are children's books, it doesn't mean that they still have to be pristine, but they do need to be of a collector quality, and that's something that's a little bit harder to do. Don't forget, this has got a matte cover, it's not shiny. If this had a shiny cover, I'd peel that sticker off, but because it hasn't, it's already got a cover tear on. I think the best we can do with that is just leave it as is. Apart from that, it's a robust copy, so I don't particularly want to do any more to that one. With these books that we're doing now, we can't polish any of them. All we can do at the end is give them a really good brush to get the dust off them. The spine's completely dried out. Another absolutely beautiful jacket on these early Puffins. Some of them are just drop dead gorgeous. They really, really are beautiful, beautiful books, the Puffins. There we are. Hopefully that will keep that one in place. Columbus Sales. So yeah, so it's been a good year since I've had a decent hit of Puffin Story Books. I got some from the collection last year that had been stored over in France. See, that one's fine. It's just a little. It's like a tiny bit coming away. Yeah, we can get a little trench of glue in here. Doesn't need a lot, just a smidgen along there. That should do the trick. Columbus Sales. There he is, he's sailing all right. That's lovely. Discovery. Now this is another one with a sticker removal mark, which is a bit of a shame. But it is early. I mean, when's this? Is this early 50s? Look, 1949. So it's absolutely fine, except just a tiny smidgen again required. Just starting to come away. But yeah, this particular book repair video is going to have to be over a couple of days. So I'm going to do the first bit today, and hopefully I'll be able to get, well, don't know, we're going to do at least an hour of cleaning on this first bit, and potentially I might have to release the video in 2 parts. But I've got 4 big stacks. This is just the start of it. This isn't even one of the stacks yet, but I've got 4 big stacks to do. Now that's split at the bottom of the spine. 25p. So this is another one which is going to be cheap and cheerful if we save it at all. I honestly think with the spine so worn like that and split, I don't think that's worth saving. That's going to unfortunately have to go into a little job lot. From now on, unless the books were particularly rare, they have to be nice, like complete condition, or they're just not worth keeping, sadly, because collectors just won't want them. It doesn't matter how old they are, if the condition isn't there. And I don't blame collectors for doing this, but they'll wait until a better one comes along, and that's fair enough. I'm at a stage now with Puffin where, because I only need about 20, I'll take the books that I'm missing in any shape, and then I'll just put the ones that need possibly upgrading onto a separate upgrade list. That's what I shall do. Golden Island. But I do absolutely love the Puffins, I really do. Here we are, the first of the stacks of 4. I think they're beautiful, beautiful books. Now this one's worn. There's some tears there at the back. That, now that I've come to look at it, even though it's a really nice one, it's really quite poor. It's poorer than I would like, let's put it that way. Yeah, the creases, the worn spine. Sorry. This one's very nice. It's a bit more like it, number 52. I have to be strict. I don't want to have books for sale which are low grade. I just don't have the space for them. It's as simple as that. I really have to be quite strict. So stick to quality and won't go far wrong. There we are, and that's really nice. That's a little something in there, right in the groove, but we got it. Dickon Among the Indians. This is another one which is looking a little bit rough. Oh look, yeah, it's an ex-library. I'm afraid that one's also too far gone. Dieter's Tree, 57. A little bit foxed. Generally okay. A little bit of wear on this one, but not too bad. Right, now we got not sure if we're going to be able to stick that back in, but we'll give it a try. Right. Fairy Tales from the Isle of Man. I know this one's quite scarce, but he's also not in the greatest of shape, but we'll accept it as a filler for now, because it might be on one of my wants lists that I've got. I've actually got 2 editions of this. I've got a later printing, which was just for sale on the Isle of Man, like in the tourist information centre or something like that, I believe. And that's pretty scarce, but that one just about scrapes in by the skin of its teeth, but not ideal. Here's a real classic, Tarka the Otter. Looks a pretty nice copy as well. Yeah, pretty nice white pages. Looks like it just needs a bit of a reglue. Yeah, just a little bit. There we are. I can sort of feel the glue pushing into the spine there. That's a really nice copy of that one. That may even be a contender to swap with my own one. It's really nice, that. Landfall, the Unknown. Got an over sticker on there, 2 shillings and 6pence. So the price has gone up while this was in the bookshops, basically. So you see this little strand here, I'm just going to cut that out. Just a little bit of the bindings come out. There we are. It just makes it look a better book, basically. Selected cautionary verses. There, Belloc. Okay, a little bit of the spine coming away, but once again, you have to say that's a pretty nice example of that one. Not one of the big rarities or anything like that, but nice to see them when they are in nice shape, because they are out there. It's just seemingly they're a little bit few and far between with puffins these days. A little bit squeezing out the bottom, but not much. There we are. Right, bird watching for beginners. Another very nice jacket on that one. Perfect. Nothing to do on that at all. That's just lovely. Puffin Book of Verse, number 72. Little 30p inside. It says 60s. 30p. Of course, I haven't been checking to see if these are all first. I think most of them are. Yeah. There may be an odd, I think there is an odd reprint, but it's one I'm probably going to keep because it's got a different jacket. Great book, real classic Puffin, this one from Roger Lancelyn Green. I once sold some books to his son, Richard Lanston Green. But that's a whole nother story, and an interesting story too, but I can't regale it with you here, because now is not the time or the place. But that's a beautiful book again. Very, very pleased with that one. 5 Proud Riders. That's lovely, thank you. Excellent stuff. Right, To School in the Spanish Main. A little bit of wear on this one, but it's a great book. Beautiful cover, very much of its time. This one is not A1, sadly. I don't think the copy I've got at the moment is that good. It's probably on a par with this, to be honest. A couple of turned over corners at the start here. We can't be having that. Yeah, sticker removal mark there. So he's okay. It's a good book, and I don't want to get shot of it. It's not that bad. Melissa Ann. That's quite a nice bright copy of that one, isn't it? Tiny bit of page edge foxing, but generally speaking, very, very nice. That one. Perfect. I'd say that's probably only been read the once, I would think. Right, these are a bit boring, aren't they? Going to a concert. This is number 85. But they were part of the Puffin Story Book output, even though they're not actually a story. They're just obviously non-fiction. And it may have inspired someone, but it's just very out of keeping with the rest of the list. And this was the book that came with it. Going to the Bally, Arnold Haskell. This one's got a little bit of wear, unfortunately, but not awful. But not perfect. But not so bad that it has to be thrown away. But he is on the borderline. A little bit of the spine worn, just ever so slightly, but someone evidently enjoyed this one. I think we got most of it. Putting the tiny flaps back in. And hopefully that's just about saved that one from going in the bin, because we don't want that. Right, Malay Adventures. This has got top of the spine coming away, number 90. £15p. Right, so it should be a fairly simple fix, this one. Very stubborn, it doesn't really want to stick in. Come on. Come on, you can stick it down. Waiting for it to solidify a little bit. Right, that's okay. That just needs to stay a while now. Now we've got the children who lived in a barn. A bit like these books, they lived in a barn, didn't they? Now this is very, very yellowed and aged, but basically sound, so that's all that really matters. It's all intact. Some collectors are definitely less fussy than others. Eleanor Graham was, I believe, the Puffin editor. Yeah, edited by Eleanor Graham. She was the Puffin editor until Kay Webb took over after her. Right, so we need to get some glue in here. To show it is a little bit loose, the spine. And that little trickle of glue should do wonders there. And then there's a little bit at the top. Which is just in here. So we'll let that dry out over the next day or so. These will all have a good day before they're going to be brushed. So any gluing in that has time to really sort of set itself off. Ray Hunt, boy of the Indian frontier. But yeah, this video may end up being a bit long for a single video, so I might split it into two, simply because of the amount of books we've got to do. But we have already done the peacocks. This is another copy of this one, but it's got something on it. Which thankfully is coming off. Yeah, I'll tell you what that was. And I've noticed this with some of the books in the barn. It's bird muck. It's pigeons or something like that I've got in, and they've pooed on the book, which has caused that damage there. I mean, we've got most of it off, but it has rubbed a bit more of the spine than I would have hoped. But you know, it is what it is. It's a cheapish book. I won't put big money on it, but I have got another copy of it as well. So it is what it is. We'll leave that one as is. Let's slide that pile over there, because we're going to crack on for a bit longer. The Heir of Charlecote. I'd like to finish at least the first 2 stacks today. And that one's absolutely fine. I really like a busy sort of cover like that, and there's loads to look at. I think that's what kids' books should be like. I reckon that's partly why things like Where's Wally were so successful. The circus is coming. This is fairly nice, just a little bit of spine damage. At the top here. So it's 2 ply, so we need to get a little bit in the bottom bit first of all. So a little bit underneath there. Like so, and then another bit in the second layer. Like so, and then we're going to squish it in and get glue everywhere. Like so. But the main thing is it's going to keep it so that that is no worse than it was. In fact, it's definitely better, so that's okay. Right, and at that point I'm going to take a short break and go and get a cup of coffee. Right, cracking on then with the magic pudding. Now this one's got a little bit of, it's got wet and then it's got dry again, so it's a bit stiff, but generally speaking it's actually still alright. So although not perfect, I'm going to let that one go. Man shy. It's got a little cutout here in the top corner, sadly, but apart from that he's okay. Norman and Henry Bones, 4 mysteries solved by. This would have been the sort of book I would have loved as a kid. I used to love these sorts of things. Savage Gold. Look at that, down the bottom of the spine there. So we've got a bit of repair work to do here. Should be fairly straightforward, that one though. Nice gluey mess there. There we are, that's fine. Storm Ahead. Storm Ahead, Monica Edwards. It's okay. A little bit of creasing, but nothing too serious. Moon Ahead. It's weird, isn't it? First time I've ever noticed that. And the 106 is called Storm Ahead. 107 is called Moon Ahead. What are the chances? I ask you. A little bit mucky underneath the spine there, but enough to pop a little bit of glue in. Hopefully that'll be enough to keep it in place. Push it down for a bit. Well, it's still sprung back. It's because it's not a perfect sort of flat surface that we're trying to glue it into. It's trying to glue into the 4 like bits of bound paper. There we are. I've really pushed that down, so hopefully that'll stick in. I'll keep an eye on it. Right. The Haunted Reef. It's another one with a little bit of the corner out, which is a bit of a shame. Apart from that, he's actually all right. So tiny bit of the corner. A little nick down the bottom of the spine here. And I suspect that is 2-ply. Actually, that's not too bad. So it's pretty much just that one bit. Let's see if it pings up. Yep, just about saved that one. The Singing Forest. Yeah, that's all right. Pretty nice copy of that one, actually. Bush Holiday. I got a bit of spine roll on it. That's a tiny bit of the cover come away there, and once again it's not come away but flapped over, and it's 2-ply, so we need to just get the screwdriver underneath and pin that back together. Yeah, a few of these have definitely seen better days, haven't they? It was not an original owner collection, but it was collected by a girl as she was growing up. The dad collected the main penguins and the daughter collected the puffins and the peacocks. And I imagine a great many of these were actually red, which is really good. That young lady now lives, maybe she's not so young anymore, now lives in America. And hopefully she'll be very happy that we've given her puffins a new lease of life. This is one of the ones which is a reprint, but it's a completely different cover to the original. So I'm probably going to keep this one because I don't have many variations in the way of Puffin books, unlike the main series Penguin, where I do tend to keep different covers, not just the firsts anymore. Didn't used to, but now I do. This is an example where that's the first there, and then that's the reissue. And the reissue is something I've not seen before, so I'm going to keep the reissue. I've already got the first. Another one of those sort of non-fiction instructional ones going into the past. This one's got a little bit of water ripple, but apart from that, he's actually pretty nice. It's a bit of a shame, but it is what it is. I'll price it accordingly. I think it's probably still worth a couple of pounds, because apart from the water ripple, it's actually a pretty nice copy of that. Going to the opera. So all 4 of those were included in this collection. £20p. I can't imagine many youngsters going to the opera though, can you? Even back in the 1950s. But hey, who's to say, eh? Tales of the Greek Heroes, Roger Lanston Green again. Bit grubby this one, a few cover marks. Okay, inside, from what I can see, yeah, 50p. colour Troy, also Lanston green. It's a little bit sort of rippled, this one. I think it's partly a storage ripple. Some of these were a little bit like that, just how they've been stored, and then somehow they got weight put on top of them, and it caused them to get a little bit buckled like that, but it's okay. The Cave Twins, 127. As I said, we are doing these in Puffin Story Book numerical order, so you can see the evolution of the style as we work our way through. Yeah, that's all right. Now the classic Phoenix and the Carpets, one I loved as a kid. This one's a little bit worn by the looks of it. Yeah, not the greatest of conditions. We'll get some glue into that slot there. See if that solves that bit. And I think also a little slither along the top. Yeah, not great. It's going to be a cheap and cheerful, I think, that one, but I think it was that borderline. I really don't want to throw that away because I think it's a key book. Avalanche. I don't want to be caught in an avalanche. Okay, a little bit of spine detachment happening here. Yes, we get some just in this slot here. And I think we may need to redo the bit at the bottom of the spine as well. Let's just pop that in. And we need to get into this bit as well. That should be enough. And I see this bit's 2-ply, which is fine. But we have got that second bit we need to have a look there, and we just need to get another bit into there because we've done the first bit. And we do see that from time to time, don't we? So there we are. Hoping that that has now done the trick with a bit of luck. Yeah, I think we've saved that one from oblivion. The Good Master. Now I think that's a 1 and 6 on the front cover, which hopefully will come off okay. Let's try, shall we? 1 and 6. Yeah, that's coming off all right. Left a bit of a rub mark, but it's better than it being on there, in my opinion. bit of a rub spine on that one, so it's only going to be fairly cheap. Sabotage at the Forge. This is pretty nice. Little stamp there, but that's okay. 6 Great Englishmen. Another one that appears to be a nice copy. Yeah, that's the end of the first big stack. We'll start on stack 2. Now this one, yeah, 137, this one got published later on, so it looks a little bit out of position compared to the other books, but we're doing them numerically, not date published. So it is the first, but this first came out in 1967, which is a lot later than the books we're doing at the moment, which I believe are early 60s, but apart from that, it's all right. I said it's mainly down to the time it was produced. This is a great one, Fell Farm Campers. It's a very popular series. Prior. Yeah, now this has got a little, once again, it's got a little bit just at the top of the spine there coming away. Not sure how much we can save of it. Well, a couple of tiny dots, I'd suspect. So a tiny dot in there. And another tiny dot under there. And let's see if we can push those bits down. Yeah, slowly but surely. There we are. Any other marks to worry about? Yeah. That's okay. It's a good book. 2 copies of this one. So the second Puffin Quiz, but that's a very handsome looking copy of that. Just a little bit of page edge browning. That's lovely. That's really nice for a quiz book. This one, slightly lesser grade, not much, but slightly. Let's put a little 5p in. There we go. Lovely. Now we got 2 copies of the next one as well. The Orphans of Sumatra, 145. Yeah, that's really nice. That's a good copy of that one. This one is a bit brighter, but it's got that storage like bang on it, which I think will probably come out over time, but it really does affect it like right now. It needs a good like weight on it to bend it back into shape, but it's too good to throw away just because of that. It's just a nice copy. It just needs someone to straighten it out and then have a really good weight on it for the next sort of year. Right, the Silver Sword. That's okay, a bit aged inside, unfortunately. Not too bad, just a bit aged. But it is what it is. Hopefully we'll have less like spine repair work to do now. This is another one that's been crushed. It's got a slight ripple in, but generally speaking is okay. And I think since I've actually owned these books, I've had some of these have got themselves a little bit better than what they were, because some of them were really, really pronounced. And this one, the longer we have it with other books on top, the more it's going to sort itself out, I believe. Tiger in the Dark. Yeah, that's all right. 151. The Wheel on the School. Bit of foxing on this old bad boy. Pictures by Morris Sendig. Look at that. The Woolpack. A Tale of Adventure. Won the Carnegie Medal. Very, very nice. Copy's a little bit worn, but what a gorgeous looking book that is. Very, very nice indeed. That's what Puffin did so well, didn't they? I see this has got a tiny, before I put it away, a tiny little corner turn. Not sure if we overcooked that at all, but let's see if we can get it back in. Yeah, there we are. Just to get that top of the spine looking a little bit sharper. Carbonell. Barbara Slay. Yeah, that's okay, so average. The Street Musician. Robert Bailey, 1962, that's what this one's dated. Yeah. Okay, not perfect, but okay. The Happy Prince and Other Stories. That's okay, that was alright. Oscar Wilde. Lottie and Lisa, I don't remember this one at all. I wonder if that's a reprint. No, first print, I don't remember that at all, you know. Nice copy though, that's good. Maybe it's one I was missing. I do miss a few. This one's scarce. This is one I didn't have, and I found a copy on eBay at a reasonable price. But even I paid about £8 for this, and it's rare in this form. It's the first one-volume edition. And we didn't have the individual volumes in this collection, and that's a pretty nice copy, that. So I think that's going to be an £8 book, that particular one. 8 to 10. Auntie Robbo. Corner torn over again. Oh dear, a few pages torn out throughout. Yeah, this is missing. It's like someone's nibbled it. And that's a really serious defect, that, unfortunately. Yeah, I'm not really keen to keep that one. So I think we're going to let that one go. Unfortunately, it's when it's like that throughout, it's just no good, you know. Swallows and Amazons, a real classic. As I said, I have been through these books once already, and I threw away quite a few. They just weren't up to scratch. This is a very, very nice one indeed, 173. There was no copy of 161, which was The Hobbit. There wasn't one in this collection. This is a real nice book to have though. And one of the slightly more expensive ones. But in that sort of condition, that's a very nice one. It's probably better than my own. So that's the other thing I need to do once I've cleaned these, of course, is go through and compare the copies. Right, we've got 2 copies of 174, Hunt Royale. This one's suffering from a little bit of sun damage. But far less gluing to do now, as you've probably noticed. Here's another copy of this one. Once again, the spine is sunned. What on earth is that? Ugh. I don't know what it is, but it's like a sweet or something, so we're not keeping that one. The Fair to Middling, 175. Okay, is what it is. Not perfect, but not awful. Walter de la Mare poems. Yeah, that's all right. I think I'm going to let this one go because although we're almost at the end of stack number 2 and the later ones don't need so much work. So I think we probably can do this all in one video. It'll be a long one, but we'll do it all in one hit. So it's going to be a Puffin hit. But I'm sure you won't mind. I know you like the long ones. We've still got lots of Puffin to do but in the collection, but they're going to be later Puffins. ISBN. But we should be able to just finish that second part, which is exactly where I wanted to be before I call it a day today. And I'll be back. I've got a couple of my normal days of work now. These are all lovely. I've got a couple of days of normal work to do before I can come back and finish these off, which I'm very much looking forward to doing. But I'll be able to do that in the morning, and we will all be good. I don't need to have it edited this week, but I do need to have the books cleaned and sorted, compared and priced by the end of Saturday. So that is my little target. But that'll be all right. That's fine. Oh, another copy of 186. Right, a little bit of glue required. Fortunately, the bottom corner's got knocked. I've used far too much glue there. But hopefully enough just to keep it in place. Yep, that's all right. Antelope Singer. So it's number 190. It's another one with ever such a slight sort of ripple in it, like a storage ripple. Little House in the Big Woods. Oh dear, look. What a shame. Else that one would be perfect. So that is a shame that is like that. There's no real easy solution because we don't want to. It's like it's already had a page taken out. Something's happened to this book that we can't see, which is a real shame because it's a really nice copy on the face of it. But unfortunately, in that condition, you know, we have to say no. No, no, no. 198. That one's all right. Now we got 2 copies of The Warden's Niece, Gillian Avery. Yep, that's a nice copy. Another one, not quite as nice. This is number 202. With a book plate in, but still okay. Last Battle, another C.S. Lewis. Very, very nice. All, you know, quite sought after. A couple of names inside, but nothing too serious. A dog so small, so diddy. It's got a bit of warping on it. And this is another one with just a tiny dot required. Just a tiny dot. There we are. The Black Symbol. And we have gone over our time, so I'm going to make this one the last one until Friday, which is a couple of days, but for you it will be mere moments as we fade to black. And then we come back. There we are. Good stuff. Good start there. Okay, so it's a couple of days since I last did any filming, and it's a really wet day here in the studio, so you may even hear some quite heavy raindrops on the roof. Glad we're starting off with this one though, because we've got loads more to get through, and this was one of the ones that I was actually missing myself, and it's in pretty nice condition. So I'm really pleased with that one, because this was one that was on the old wants list, so that's cool. And what I've done, as well as the Puffin Story Books, I noticed I had a little pile of about 20 or so B format. That's the larger Puffin Story Books. So I brought them into the studio with me, and a pile of picture puffins. Now, picture puffins were what came after the Puffin picture books, which were the beautiful oblong ones. These were the ones that came out from 1969. Well, right through them, basically, that the format changed, and that's what we've got, a small pile of those to do as well, which is good news. Children's Crusade. So far I haven't actually needed to do that much, but Yeah, the Puffin picture books. I've given them a bit of a first sort through, and the ones which were like full of kids scribbling and things like that, I have pulled out already. So there shouldn't be loads of work to do on them, but there is some work to do on them. That's for certain. The Brumby. But yeah, I'm filming this on Friday, and I want these books cleaned, compared against my own copies, and then priced up, ready for sale on Sunday at the Zardoz Book Fair. So I've got quite a bit of work ahead of me, but I've done all my other little jobs that I needed to do. So basically I can just concentrate on these now. And obviously the rest of my stock, my main series books and my Penguin Classics and the Peacocks, they've already all been done. They're all priced and ready for a sale, basically. I'll just go through them and make sure everything is as good as possible, and also make sure I fill up my boxes, because I can take about 12 or 13 boxes in my car, along with a couple of like foldable bookcases. That's the plan anyway. And I want the boxes to be full, basically, so even if I can't quite get it all out initially, hopefully I'll at least have it on to hand if someone was to ask for something. But we'll see. So I'm looking at these books now with one eye on, get them looking as good as possible. The other eye on making sure they are actually saleable. Also, I don't really want to throw any of these books away if I can help it, because they may actually be ones that I want. And if they are ones that I want, I'll take them in any condition just as fillers for the time being, That's really nice. Voyage of the Dawn Trader. All the C.S. Lewis books are sought after, and they did do a box set, a magnificent beast it is, in the late 1960s. It's I haven't got it, but it's absolutely gorgeous. It's probably £100 box set, I would think, but the books in it I don't think are actually all first printings. In fact, they're definitely not. They're a little bit of a mixture of what books of the printings that were in print when the box set came out, which I think was about 1968 or 69. But I have seen them online, but it's not one I've made a big point about trying to track down. But there are a few other children's box sets I'd like. One of them is the Moomins box set, 4 Moomins books, and quite a while back, like over 10 years ago, I used to have it, and about 10 years ago I actually sold it. I put it on Instagram, and someone in Japan offered me like £100 for it, and at the time it was selling for about 40. I said, if you want it that badly, you can have it. So I sold it to them, and I do sort of regret it now, because I've not come across another one in nice condition. Apart from that, there's the C.S. Lewis one that we said. There's 2 different Paddington Bear box sets, and I'd like to get those as well. And there is also the only other one I'd like, and it came out a bit later, is a Roald Dahl box set with the classic B format Roald Dahl, so Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Great Glass Elevator, Danny, Champion of the World, all of them. They're all in it, all the classics basically. Seen double on this one. Thankfully, where I've got my Puffin book collection now is a really accessible place, so I'll be able to very easily compare these copies against my own ones. It's just going to take a little bit of time, that's all. It's a shame that this one's a little bit low grade. I'll still obviously keep it because it's scarce, got the name in, but someone might want it just as a filler, because it's one of those ones that ends up being expensive for people, and not everyone's that fussed on condition like me. Some people are more than happy. If someone was missing this, they would probably be just glad to have a single copy in their collection rather than not having it at all. That's, in a lot of cases, how collectors work. Unless you're someone like my friend Dorset Bob, who, because he's short of room, he hasn't got room for anything which is less than perfect. And that's how he's collecting his Pan book collection. He collects vintage Pan, and everything in his collection is absolutely outstanding. His cast-offs are better than some of my actual copies in my Pan collection. That's just how the sort of collector that he is, you know. That's okay. So we're not having to do loads of work here, are we? Let's be honest. We're doing all right. Got to admit, I think the Puffin Story Books, to get a run together, there's a lot of scarce ones which aren't particularly valuable. They're just scarce because they haven't really survived children's hands, or they just didn't sell well at the time, of course. There's that. And I think probably that it's a harder run to put together these days than even some of the main series runs, because I think there's not so many of these around. So when you get them, you generally find them in a collection. And what I've had recently, last year and this year, was two people who went out to collect them, whether for themselves or for their daughter, or both, really. And that's the only way I've been able to really get a decent run of them. I have always picked them up, and drop my screwdriver, I've always picked them up when I've seen them on dealers' catalogues, and particularly the early ones. So I am glad I got what I did in that sort of realm when I did, because the early ones in nice shape are not easy to find. Just making sure there was a... It's funny, you know, you give the book the once over, then when you put it on the stack there, you see something else wrong with it. Very nice. James Goes to School. They are great, these, though. They really are. But they do need a bit of work. There we are. A little bit at the top of the spine here. So I've had a few people message me and say they're going to be at the show, which is quite good. And two of the people coming are both Puffin collectors. They collect them, so that's why I wanted to make a real point of getting these books ready for them, basically, to have a look through, because they'll be bringing their wants list, and I'm pretty confident I'll have at least something for them. And this one's a little bit rippled, sadly, which is a shame. Yeah, it is rippled, but I'm going to keep it because it is C.S. Lewis. Someone might want that. Because apart from the rippling, it's not too bad, but it is not perfect, unfortunately. So I'll just probably stick a couple of quid on that one. It's also got a little bit of rippling on it, but not too bad. I'll see when I come to pricing them up. If I can't come up with a price, well, then it might be a different story. Yeah, these are from 1966, so let's be honest, they're hardly brand new books. These are all like 50, 60 years old. What we've been doing, some of them even older than that, earlier on in the video. And I think we need to bear that in mind, the sheer age of these books, you know. Great, isn't it? It's absolutely classic, this one. Very nice. Obviously the author of Steak of the Dump. Now, I seem to remember that we didn't do any brushing, did we, last time? So we've still got that to do, and there's no way, with the weather like it is today, that we're going to be able to do any of it, even with the door open, because the books will get wet. So we are going to have to do them in here, but that is just the price we're going to have to pay, and there is no way around it, sadly. Right, let's get the next wedge here. Puffin Quiz Book, £2.51 this is. that's okay. It's got some marks on the front there, so we will give these the once over with the polish as well, just in case there is anything we can take off. But it'll be sort of on a book by book basis rather than doing all the books, polishing all the books. A, because I haven't got the time, and B, they don't all need it. Just like that one, it's an odd one here or there, which will actually, the early books we can't touch with polish, of course, because they've got matte covers. A little bit of glue required on this one. Another copy there. The Load of Unicorn. Nice. Old Robert Heinlein. £10p in Starman Jones. That's a pretty good price, wasn't it? Very cool. The Rocks of Honey. Yep, generally okay. Speed 6. And another one. Cool. Now we're getting through these fairly swiftly, which is good news. 275. So the numbering goes up to about 400. Just a touch over 400 on these. For pre-ISBN, The House of 60 Fathers. That might be another one I need on my list. Can't remember. Don't remember it. Oh, that Morris Sendick. A great illustrator. It's good, isn't it? Flood warning. Well, the rain may be heavy, but there isn't a flood warning where I am, thankfully. Alright. Previous owner's name and address. So we will get that out. Although it is getting quite heavy. I got most of it. But it has left an impression. Just about okay. St. George and the Dragon. Yeah, that's all right. My horse says. What does your horse say? You know, this one went on to become a peacock after being a puffin. And of course, he had a lot published in the adult series, Old Gerald Durrell. That was 3 and 6. Maybe because of the photo insert, possibly. Beaver bird. Yeah, that's nice. A wrinkle in time. Great jacket, that one. I really like that. Got a book plate inside, sadly. The previous owner's name, Caroline Garner. Looks like she won this as a prize at school prize. Oh no, that's just like a library thing. An ex libris. Last little wedge from this pile. Dr. Doolittle's post office. That's all right. I have got a Dr. Doolittle box set. A Puffin one. I'd forgotten about that. That's pretty nice. Dr. Doolittle Zoo. Bumpy in the Hills. Green Smoke. In Gumbel's Yard. Another one with a little owner's label inside. There we are, that was number 299. So, the last wedge to come. Bullwhip Griffin. So this has actually got a bit of scribbling on the front cover. But I think it's so minor, it will just about get away with it. Just about. Rubber's ripping out there. I don't want this glue to dry up as well, so I'm going to pop the lid back on. There's another copy of this one. This one hasn't got any writing on the front, but slightly more worn, but no writing. Luck of Troy, another Roger Lanston Green. It's pretty nice, except for that. Apple Bow. Yeah, that's all right. Sand. Yes, so we got a little pile of these, and then we'll be on to the B format books, which are the larger format. They were intended for the slightly younger audience. These, I would say, is more like teenagers and young adults, or teenagers into young adults. Then you had the Peacock list, which was definitely aimed at young adults, you know, and then the B format ones, I would say it's hard to say, because some of them, they say it's for the very, very young, it's like the under fives, like a first book sort of thing. Other ones are more sort of 5 to 8 bracket, I think. But it's so difficult, even now, probably, to pigeonhole someone's readability, because people pick up reading at different paces, don't they? It's not like you have to be able to read this at a certain age. But I think it was like that when I was growing up at school. But I don't think it's like that today. I think children are encouraged to read, but at their own sort of pace, really. And I think the key to it is just finding books that, or anything really, that kids want to read. Because if they want to read it, they will do it. And that's how they'll become better readers. That's my sort of opinion on it. Getting little harks back here now to the stuff that was to come in the 1970s, the particular look, stuff like that. It's an early one from Leon Garfield. Castaway Christmas. Merry-go-round. This is one of those ones that probably would have had a bit of use back in the day. So yeah, it's a bit worn, that one, a bit corner creases and bent back, and just not in the greatest of shapes. How very dare it. I think that's about as good as we're going to get that one. That's all right. I mean, it's still, I think it's a scarce one now, and I don't want to not include it in my stock. It may even be one that I need. I can't remember. Night the Rain came in. This is much better on the face of it. And I think generally collectors do need to make a little bit of an allowance with Puffins. Perfection is hard to find with these because of their very nature. Simple as that, really. Another one. Oh, got Puffin Club. That's not the official Puffin Club. It may have been one that was run right through a school, because schools did used to do that. My school had like a book club when I was growing up, which I do remember attending. Patrina Jones. It's an unusual name, isn't it? Patrina. On the run, Governor. He's on the run. Yeah, it's lovely. Right, this one's got Rippling. Hell's Edge. A big 20p on the front. see if it's going to come off for us. There we are. So that came off okay. I think a reasonably scarce book, that one, so worth persevering. Molly Hunter, Patrick Ketrigan Keen. That someone didn't actually get round to joining the Puffin Club there in the back. Look, that's got a page out as well. It's missing the title page. That's a shame. I'm going to just check that 344 is not one that I need myself, because else I'm just going to get rid of that one. No, I do not need number 344. I have it. So we won't panic about that. That one, I'm afraid, because of the missing page. That's a serious defect, and the name right in the back. I'm afraid that one's going to have to be discarded, sadly. I don't like doing it, but needs must. Someone will just buy that and be disappointed, and I don't want that. I say just because they are puffins, the collectors still expect them in at least some sort of condition, but they do expect them complete. And if it was a particularly rare, like Penguin Crime or something, I would include it with a missing first page, but not something like that. Which, even if it was mint, would only be about £3-4, you know, so it's not worth stressing over. Nightbirds on Nantucket. Yeah, very nice. Always checking the back page to see if it's been filled out or not, the Puffin Club form. I was never a member. My daughter was. She enjoyed it. In the early 2000s, she was a member. I'm not sure if it's still going today. But Puffin Club memorabilia, they did a magazine. I've got a handful of issues. The best thing I've got is a Puffin Club diary from 1974, and it is brilliant. It was designed by what's her name? It will come to me. We haven't seen any of her work. It's a female sort of illustrator. I'm trying to remember her name. But yeah, she did the Puffin diaries. Oh, that's embarrassing. I've had a memory loss. I can't think of her name. I'm going to pause and look it up. Right, it was Jill MacDonald. Of course it was. And why I couldn't remember that, I don't know. But that's who it was. Right, let's see. Yep, this is the next one. 360, Ribbon of Fire. I am actually quite rapidly running out of space on the table because I bought it. This is basically, it's the best part of two videos put into one, but a mega video sometimes is just has to be done, doesn't it? You know, sometimes if you want that extra bit of length, and if you love the Puffin books, then I'm sure you won't mind looking through all these gorgeous books. 362. Yeah, a bit fox that one, but it is what it is. Chesterfield Gold, 375. A Book of Princes. Banner in the Sky. £10p, this one. Master Entric. Yeah, Victor Ambrose's signature there, and he is credited as well, which is very, very cool. Another copy of this one. Yeah, both of those very nice. Got the last wedge, and then we have got a box set actually to look at. One that I haven't got, but he's a little low grade. Secret the Missing Boat. It's got the Puffin Club form filled out, you can see. Earth Fasts. Another one I don't recognise. The early ones I know really quite well now. It's the later ones. It's nice, isn't it? That edition of Stuart Little. Whack the camera there. Horse in the House. A little bit rough. Just about scrapes through condition wise. He's quite spine rolled, so we'll have to see on that one. The Owl Hoots Twice at Catfish Bend, 397. This is just before Puffins all started getting ISBNs. Number 400, Puffin Story Book 400. And every number was used, none was left out. But some numbers didn't get used until later on. So if you're trying to collect by the numbers, you do need to know which books came out as ISBN. And they seem to be the ones that are on quite a few people's wants lists. Probably because they're not aware that the books came out as ISBN releases later on. But I have pulled quite a bit of that information together now, which is going to be really handy for collectors. The Grove of Greenhorse, this is 402. 1969, and the last one in this collection, 404, The Viaduct. Roy Brown. Okay. Right, next thing we've got is the box set, so I'll just straighten those up and we'll get straight on with that box set. There we are, that's them out of the way. So it's this one here, Henry Treese, and the box set itself, see, it's got wear there, wear and tear. I mean, chances are if I looked that one up online, I could probably find quite a reasonably nice copy at not too much money. But we'll just have a look and see what the books are inside, if they're firsts or reprints. This is a first. And I believe this does form the set. I think I've seen these in hardback. In fact, actually, I always thought there was 4 in this series, but maybe I'm wrong. But the hardbacks are very, very vivid. That's a first as well. And this one's a bit more worn. That's also a first. But the front cover is a bit turned over. So really the books aren't too bad, which is what you usually find in a box set, particularly if the books haven't been read. And I think these have been read because they've all got like at least one sort of spine, 1 or 2 spine creases on it. But that's the order that they were released in, and that's got some sunning. Of course, I've got these books anyway, so, but I will keep that as a spare set. The box set, I'm very reluctant to get rid of it because I've never seen one before. So for now, I'm going to keep it. Let's carefully put these back in. Yeah, I mean, it's all right, isn't it? You know, so I will keep that one. Then before we start on the Puffin picture books, I think we should just do these B formats. And then I'll take a short break and then we'll be back to do the picture Puffin. So I think we can get through these. I've put them into numerical order again, but I do expect to have a few rejections. There we go. Literally the first one. We'll look an advert for The Hobbit, which we, of course, never got to see in this collection. But yeah, that one's got writing in. I'm afraid it's no good. People just don't want them. This is a gorgeous book, but what condition is it in? I seem to remember when I flicked through there was some penciling in this one. Yeah, look, scribbling in crayon. I'm sorry, but once again, a beautiful book, which sadly has to be rejected. And it breaks my heart. Puffin Book of Nursery Rhymes, number 200. This one's probably all right. Yeah, that one's okay. Tell me another story. Look at the state of this. Number 210. I'm checking my list. Is it one that I need myself? I might be. Yeah, I actually need that one. So I'm going to try and repair it as best I can because this is scarce. You know, if I haven't got it by now, this is the first time I've ever come across a copy, then it's evidently scarce. But look at the state of it. You know, it's one of those ones designed. It's called a young Puffin. You see along the bottom there, which means it's designed for the super young, and to have the stories read to them. Well, we might be able to do something with that because the spine has come away so much. I think we can probably run some glue along there and repair that. Because apart from that, there's nothing else to do on this one except that repair. There we are. Bit fiddly. It's lack of space. As I said, the table is getting full and you need a bit of work room to do such a delicate operation. I think this will be quite an easy repair though, because the edge against it is quite flat. Yeah, I think that's enough. A little bit of tactical gluing in there. So not ideal, but it's saved it for another day, and it's one I was missing. So it'll be in my collection. It'll be there listed as an upgrade required. But it's better than, in my book, it's better than not having one at all. Whereas Dorset Bob would reject this and say, no, nowhere near good enough for me. And he'd probably throw that in the bin, as I think probably would many collectors would just throw that in the bin. But they don't know how rare it really is. But we do. Right, the Happy Orphaline. Oh no, look. So, got a segment out, but apart from that, it's all right, to be honest, you know. So I feel we could do a little repair on that and put that little block back in. I think we probably can save this one. I don't recognise it again as a book that I've actually got. But whether that'll save it or not, it may be okay as a filler for somebody, you know. Let me check, number 233. I don't recognise it, but no, it's one I must have, so. But I'll pop it in there, and it'll just be like 150 or something like that if someone wants it. Just as a filler. That's okay. Although look at that on the top. And it's in ink, so I need to be all over these when I actually get around to price them to make sure I'm not, you know, missing anything. Yep, scribbling in it. It's the fatal mistake. Number 259. Yeah, that's no good. Ponder and William, 261. This one I'm sure I've got. Very, very rough copy indeed, this. Too far gone, I'm afraid. As is this, really, but it's one I need. I haven't got this one. It's just so rare. 272. This is another one I haven't got. Look at it. But I'd rather have this than no copy at all. I just have it on in my collection with a view to upgrading it down the line. Give it a good brush and that. It won't be the end of the world. Yeah, this one I've had like 3 or 4 times. I know I have, you know. A little bit rough with the pen in, but just about scrapes through. Just having another look at this one. A little bit of glue required. It's actually one of those 2-ply bits, so we put the first bit down. I didn't spot this just now, and then we need to put a bit in there. That'll probably be enough. Since I am going to be keeping this one, even though it's really grubby. it'll be on my upgrade list, and I'll put it as an urgent upgrade. So ones which I've got which are in basically ready for the bin, they're in the urgent upgrade pile. And I've got some main series books which are like that, you know. It just means if I got a moment and I try and hunt a couple down online, I'll make those like the priority, really, because they're bringing the rest of the collection down. That's basically what it means. Well, she wrote that on hard, didn't she, old Tanya? It's not really coming off very well, but at least it was done reasonably neatly. Clever Polly. P. King, 15p. 4 to go, and then we'll take a short break before I come back to do the picture puffins. Okay, but a bit worn. These are the scarcest ones of Puffin Story Books, these larger format ones. They just don't survive in great shape. They're just not out there. Paddington at work. What, has this got colouring in like the other Paddington book? No, just a book plate. Oh, that's not the end of the world. And the last one, 405, my first big storybook. There we are. Okay, right, a short break. Right, so we've got a few different larger format series to go through here. These are the practical puffins, and we've got 3 of these. Now, I haven't really made up my mind if I'm going to end up keeping these particular format books, because they are past my period of collecting, generally speaking, and I have to draw the line somewhere. The ones that I'm most tempted to keep are the reasonably early picture puffins, of which we've got some which I'll show you today, you know, 69, 70, 71, early 70s ones basically, are the ones I'm tempted to keep. And I don't have much past the original 60s. I've got a handful of these sorts of books in my collection already. So I don't know. It's just not something I'm looking to sort of collect, really. At the show on Sunday, there is another penguin collector who I'm going to offer. He's interested in the picture puffins, so I'm going to add my picture puffins to the ones that I've already got, which is a handful in my own collection. And then I'm going to see if he wants to make me an offer for literally the whole lot. If he does, then great. If not, I'm going to have a bit of a rethink. I don't really want to split the collection up and just let a few go here and there. I'm going to just have a bit of a rethink. Because I think, generally speaking, a lot of these books that we're going to see now are actually pretty scarce. And they don't turn up all the time. And when they do, they're not always in great shape, as we've seen. So, as I said, the jury is slightly out. So here's another unusual series. I'll just move the camera over there a little bit and get a bit more in. So this is a new Puffin picture book. So this is another series here. It's called a new Puffin picture book. It's just another like little sub-series within. They really are of their time. But for some people, these were the books that they grew up with. So I understand that some of these will have nostalgic connotations. Right, now this one's got a name on and a little bit of writing there. I know certainly some of these we're going to have a close look at. I have already given them the once over, but like that's fully taped. That's an instant rejection, I'm afraid. So it's one that missed missed quality control, should we say. I said I haven't been through them thoroughly, but I just gave them a cursory look through before today, just when I had a little bit of time. Okay, another series now. This is the Puffin Explorers. This is Explorer number 5. Shadow in the Clouds. Book on Zeppelins. I bet that's really interesting. I would have loved this as a kid. 1975. Very, very cool. Living Sea. Very nice. Pirates of the Spanish Main, Explorer number 9. Number 9. A couple of bent corners. Lovely. What's this? This is a Puffin Easy Reader, Arch of the Tiger. And once again, you've got to ask yourself how many of these sorts of books have survived, because you can see the sort of age range they were designed for. I would suggest probably not many. Another one, a breakthrough reading book. This one is particularly nice because it's illustrated by David Mackay, who did Mr. Ben, who I really like. This one from 1972. Pretty rare that. And this one here was written by David Mackay. There were some other ones in this series that I've thrown straight in the bin because they were appalling. I mean, they just, I couldn't believe someone had even saved them. Right, so here is the Picture Puffin. So they've got the emblem there. That's the Picture Puffin logo. And they're in various formats. Yeah, that Picture Puffins for 3 to 6 year olds. So that was the target audience. So any of these that have actually survived in anything like decent shape is a novelty. Yeah, this is a reprint, this one, and it's the only Wombles one in here. Reprinted in 1974. It's a TV tie-in one. To the rather excellent TV tie-in series. Now it's got a 10 on the front. Is it a 10 we can get off? A sticker. It's not a shop bought sticker. I think that's going to have to stay for now, at least. This is a reprint, I believe, of a book that came out much earlier. Beautifully illustrated by Edward Ardizoni. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous book. But look at that. Talk about sport, eh? What a shame. Titch by Pat Hutchins. There's a little bit of writing on there. Let's see if there's much gone inside. Well, a name, not the end of the world. We'll let that one go. Bread and Jam for Francis. Yeah, that one's alright. This is the first of 2 Captain Pugwash books. I am tempted to keep these along with the Wombles one, to be honest. I do like Captain Pugwash. I don't know how difficult these are to find nowadays. I don't really collect Captain Pugwash, although there is a very rare annual that I used to have, and I wouldn't mind getting that back again. But it's supremely scarce. Pugwash Aloft. The hat. Look at this, grey, isn't it? Absolutely great, these. 1974. That's why I think if I pull out a couple that I might want myself, I think my friend is probably going to want all of these, because I think it's going to appeal to him. He's a bit younger than me. There'll be possibly a bit more nostalgic to him than me. See, this is another one at the Sign on Rosie's Door, Pictures and Story by Maurice Sendig. So it was published in hardback by the Bodley Head in 1969 and published in a picture Puffin, which is this one in 1972. But the book itself is copyrighted 1960, so is this the first UK paperback? I suspect it probably is. And consequently, these things, from a collectible author like that, have a value. So this is a different series again. This is a Puffin Easy Reader. So this is actually we had that set earlier, didn't we? Where's the Puffin Easy Reader? There are the Explorers, new picture Puffins, and practical Puffins. Well, I'm sure we've seen one. That's okay. Elizabeth Beresford, who of course did write the Wombles books. I managed to throw my rubber to the other side of the studio here, but we're back in business again now. The Perfect Present. Big 5 there. I'm going to need to take this rubber in and trim the cardboard of it, so I've got a bit more to play with, because it's right on the edge at the moment. Little Red Riding Hood. There we are. Harry by the Sea. Very nice. Slide them over there. Now this next one has got some penciling on the front. The Story About Ping. And on the back there. It's a reprint, so you know it's not a first, but do people really mind that much? I don't know. I don't think so with these, because of their genuine, scarcity. I don't think people are too particular about firsts. Got most of that out. Let's see if there's any more going through. No, just the back cover here, of which that is quite severe, to be honest. Let's see how easy it comes off. Not too bad. Not too good, but not too bad. Right, I suspect that's about as good as we're going to get that, without me quite literally breaking a sweat. Right, Paul the Hero First. So this was definitely a very early porpoise book, which Penguin published during the just at the end of the Second World War, I believe, in hardback. quite collectible. Yeah, Picture Puffin PX8, so it's number 8 in the series. There we are. The Frog in the Well. Yeah, this is also 1969, so these are certainly earlier ones in the Picture Puffin. Yeah, this is Picture Puffin number 9, PX9. As I said, I'm not trying to collect these, but I can imagine some people will be interested. This one's got a little bit of water damage, but that pencil didn't come off very well. Someone read that in the bath, I suspect, but we'll keep it in there as part of the collection. This is nice. Eric Carle, the author of The Very Hungry Caterpillar. (1971). See, that's probably quite collectible as well, I would imagine. Be surprised if that wasn't worth a few pounds, that one. It's not the hardback, of course, but still pretty rare, I would suggest. Clocks and more clocks. Lovely. A Lion in the Meadow. Yeah, pretty scarce these, I would suggest. Pretty scarce. Mrs. Pepperpot's Busy Day. Although this one's got a worn jacket in that, I'm still keeping it in there. This one's nice, illustrated by Rolf Stedman, that's a name you might recognise. 1970, this one. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, a bit of a creased cover, but generally okay. Story of the Three Bears. Bit of pen on the front there. But we can survive that, I suggest. Now, I think for the sake of filming today, this video has gone on long enough. So I'm not going to show you myself brushing the books off, because it's just going to add another best part of 15-20 minutes to an already very long video. So I'm going to give that a miss, and also the polishing, because I need to have the books out in front of me and just polish the books on a book by book basis when I take these inside to price up in a bit. So I'm going to call it there, but I think you'll agree it was an epic video. Hopefully you've enjoyed looking through these puffins, because I definitely have. They are very, very nice, and it's not every day I get so many in one hit. So I'm really, really pleased to have these. And I got a few little decisions to make about which ones to actually keep in these particular ones anyway. If you have enjoyed today's video, obviously do give it the thumbs up. And do please hit the subscribe button if you've not already, for regular weekly book cleaning content. And I'm going to go in and get a coffee and have a well-earned break, because let's be honest, that was a bit of an epic. So I'll see you again soon in 7 days. Bye.